I'm on your side when it comes to don't give it to the media. But at the same time, I don't believe you.
They roll coverage. All right, that's a picture of where we're at right now. Obviously not good enough. The turnovers, the explosive plays. I thought our tackling was not great. We let a couple of plays out that, we had stopped, essentially for nothing. And, we let them get through to the second level. I think anytime you have 4 turnovers in a game, you give an offense with a bunch of weapons, more opportunities, this is the outcome. This is what happens here. I'm proud of the guys for finishing. I'm proud of them for continuing to play. But they know as well as I know that's not good enough. But it was a good chance to just look at them in the eye and say, look, this is where we are at right now. And we got to look at the tape. We have to grow from this. We have to take care of the basic things that we've been working on and just take a next step this week. But certainly disappointed in how we played today, especially with all the things that we emphasize.
He is absolutely right. What a god-awful performance, mostly from the offense. I will give credit where credit is due. The credit is due for this defense. They were put out on the field for a ton of time, and the offense could get basically nothing together until absolute garbage time. So I will not feed into this narrative that the defense is the part that failed us. The offense failed us. Our center failed us, which if you've been a part of this channel for a while, you'll know I've been saying that. I've been saying my concerns with this offensive line were going to come to fruition, and what happened in this game? The offensive line fell apart. Bryce Young fell apart. To be honest, Tetaroa did pretty good. That stupid toe drag by Excel. Renfro was getting hospital balls, and Jatavian Sanders is still Kyle Pitts. But I have to say one thing. This team was bad weeks ago. When we were being hyped to win 10 plus games and contend for this division, I was telling you right here on roll coverage that wasn't going to be the case. That we were going to be in more of a rebuild than you guys were even ready to admit. And now we find ourselves at this point. I mean, to be honest, Evero's gone, right? That's the first decision. Does Dave Canales go too? Does Dan Morgan? Does Dave Canales bench Bryce Young? I don't really know where we go from here because there's no way to fix this in the season now. You know who's not going to get healthier? Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, and Ikem Ekwonu. We obviously saw the void of Ikem, but man, without just pouring my heart into this and really revealing my hurt when it comes to my team, I'm just going to let him move on with this. You guys obviously know I delayed this breakdown for a reason. I want that game to sit in everybody's mind. I didn't want to put out this breakdown immediately. If you wanted to go see other people break it down, people do it all the time. But there's a reason why you're here, and that's because I tell you guys what this man has been saying. And he's told you his whole time his concern was the offensive line health. But hey, they cleaned up the penalties. We were at least not the most penalized team tonight, so I'll take the win for that. That's a W.
Dave, given the way the passing game was operating, when you decided to go empty on 4th and 1.
Yes.
He's talking about going empty.
Yeah, we just liked our matchup. Felt like we had a good concept right there. It didn't work out, but that was a situation where it's a play that we know. Wanted to put our guys in a comfortable position with good answers for it, and we didn't execute.
At the end of that play, Bryce comes to the sideline. You said something to him. He said something back. He slammed his helmet. Was he upset with the play call?
I'm never going to share that kind of stuff with, publicly. I think that's just something that he and I will work through, and talk about. But, his frustration wasn't directed at me in that. We were just talking about we got to keep playing ball, I've been in situations, I've been in these games. I'm sitting there with an onside kick opportunity thinking, shoot, let's get it. Let's go score again. Let's see if we can make it happen quickly and trying to keep hope alive there. But, I think it was just a frustrating day in general. So, I think there's a lot of guys that would come up here and tell you they wish they could do better.
I'm not going to lie to you. I know that he's not going to tell us what exactly was said. I understand that, and I fully embrace that. I'm on your side, we'll say. Maybe I had to process that, but I'm on your side when it comes to don't give it to the media. But at the same time, I don't believe you. I don't believe you because I genuinely believe that Bryce either has no confidence in himself or is losing confidence in you, Dave. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the confidence in himself is 100% warranted. And genuinely, we saw what your play calling did with Andy Dalton for those 2 or 3 games that we saw last year. So I feel like there's something more to maybe it is an isolation of Bryce. But at the same time, we won't know that until you put somebody else in. And that's a you call, not anybody else, hopefully. And again, I say hopefully because everybody knows here I'm a devout David Tepper hater. And I genuinely still believe his hands are kind of still involved with this team. And that's kind of why we're in this situation. I know that I've seen a quote going out there. I'm not sure if it's in this press conference or if it's the one that just happened. But he said that he wants to push Evero to play younger players. And if a head coach is hoping that the defensive coordinator is going to play those guys, I feel like we're in a weird power struggle here, akin to what we saw with Frank Reich. And that spells doom for not only this head coach, but this GM, quarterback, and everybody involved. So Tetaroa might be the best wide receiver in this draft, but to be honest, he might be in hell, just given what's happening in Carolina.
We're coming a little higher.
Yeah.
and Things like that. What
Yeah, we just had, we really just got to figure out just calming down the cadence part, and getting everybody sorted out in the protection. I got to give a credit to the Jags. Thought they did a good job of presenting some issues with pressures. We had some success against what they did. They got us a few times. They chose a very aggressive approach, but we had a plan for it, and I think it's just making sure that we get the whole rhythm and organization from the center and everybody else, on the same page so that we're ready to go.
Yeah, but that center has been a concern for a while. Not only the play calling, but the health. We saw that with Cade Mays. We saw that with Josh Nyman. We saw that with Austin Corbett. We have seen the constant struggle of this center quarterback. And that's where Dave has said previously in press conferences where he places the blame. It's on the quarterback center for they're getting the play calls well ahead of time. We've talked about that. Dave's talked about that. That's why he was having Brad Idzik call plays in the preseason. So this way we were making sure to get them in early. Bryce and the center are not able to get this offense ready and to the line unless there's 3 or 4 seconds left. And that's the constant issue we're having. He can't make adjustments on the line. That's a Bryce Young problem right now because he was supposed to be a supercomputer. He was supposed to be able to do all this with no issues. But now we're hearing that there's a lot of issues. This is not spelling good for Dave. This is not spelling good for Bryce. To be honest, this is a concern for everybody in the organization top down.
You guys spent the entire summer working on what you were going to do on offense and defense. This is the second week 1 in a row where you guys have been blown out in a game. What do you think the disconnect is going from training camp where you said,
By the way, I wish you could hear this.
to week 1?
I wish I could tell you that. It's disappointing. We're all disappointed. Felt really good about the work we've put in. It did not show up today. And that's something that I was able to talk to the group about. It's like, guys, we know what we have in this room, but it just comes down to finishing plays, finishing drives when we get our red zone opportunities, stopping them when they get down there, and it really just comes down to that. That's a part of our game that we have to pride ourselves on, and that's the growth that we have.
To be honest, this is a Dave Canales thing. He will never address the immediate person or something like that. He will put it to the group. So that tells me that this has a little bit more barb to it and that the person that this is really focusing on, I'm going to be honest, all signs are pointing to Bryce. And I don't see a place of them pointing anywhere else.
Honestly, disappointed, but at the same time, I think there's a look of surprise a little bit for the guys because they know what kind of group we have in there, and this was not up to the standard that of our expectations for how we play. But the guys are pretty focused on all right, we get back to work, and this is words coming from the players. We get right back to work tomorrow. We have another week coming up, going out to Arizona, and we have to make sure we're able to take the lessons, grow, and flip the switch so we can just get right back to work.
What switch are you guys talking about? When did that switch ever get turned on? Because if that's the case, I need to know when. When did anybody turn a switch on? I mean, J.C. Horn with the interception, Tetaroa with the catch, sure. Otherwise, everybody's switches were 100% turned to off, man.
you know, this has happened a lot of years, this sort of opener, and I know you've only been here for 2 of them.
Yep.
But I wonder what you would tell Panther fans who've suffered through a 2-15 before you, and I mean, a lot of them will look at this result and go, man, it's the same old Panthers again.
We're just gonna get back to work. You know, fix the things, watch the film, grow, and just continue to advance our football.
Dave, you guys
I'm sorry, that is a lackluster answer, Dave, and I do not accept that.
spent a lot of money in free agency on this defense, and last year you guys gave up a ton of rushing yards. This year, I mean, this game it was pretty much the same thing. What do you think the issue is there?
Got to look at it. You know, I think some of it's tackling. You know, just fundamentals of football. You know, really, and also opportunities. We turned the ball over 4 times. You know, really, the last one was at the end of the game. But you're talking about 3 meaningful turnovers throughout the course of the game. When you give an offense that has talent, that has special players like that, and you give them more opportunities, then we start to expose ourselves. You know, and that's part of playing complementary football. You know, is we have to be able to take care of the ball on offense, and then we got to be able to get off the field on defense. You know, so I think it really just, you know, it plays both ways. When you don't play complementary football, then all of a sudden you're giving the other team opportunities.
You know what? Shout out, Dave. You went from a really, really, really bad answer to a really good one because there's so many people that are blaming the defense and the defense only. Shout out to literally everybody on Panthers Twitter. Basically. Man, this defense couldn't get us off the field, but the offense couldn't stay on it. It is equal. There is no way that I'm crucifying this defense, nor am I crucifying a guy like Ejiro Evero. Because, man, the OC/HC couldn't get anything done on the offensive side of the ball either.
Pretty long weather stoppage.
Yeah.
What y'all do during that time? Because I felt like y'all would come out with a pop and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, we both had to go in for the weather delay, you know, and we talked to the guys, worked through some adjustments with the amount of, you know, film and things that we had going in. Got their body right and ready to go to come out, and you know, again, it was just like a little bit more of the same. So I think it's just a matter of us just looking at the film and continuing to improve on our fundamentals.
On your young receiving crew, Leggett has a play that he doesn't get a second toe down.
Yeah.
T-Mac has a play in the end zone
Yep.
that he didn't get his second hand up. Both of those plays should have been made?
Absolutely, looking for those guys to just finish the plays, to execute. You know, I'm excited for this group that we have. I'm excited for what I saw, for the couple of drives that we put together to see the guys win and get open and make their plays. But we got to make all the ones that you're supposed to make. You know, and that's the sign of consistency. You know, that's a sign of maturity to continue to grow and make those plays. We're counting on them to do that. You know, and we'll keep giving them ops. That's just what we're going to do. These are the guys we have. You know, we love them, and I'm fired up for this group. You know, but at the same time, they'll be the first ones to come up here and tell you I got to make that play. You know, and that's what I really want us to just grasp. You know, the consistency it takes to be really good is you make all the ones you're supposed to make, and some of the special ones every once in a while when you have to.
Dave, what did you say to Bryce after the game?
Back to work. Let's go back to work. I just really, to Bryce, to the whole group, really, like, we have to look in the mirror. This is where we are at today. The film is the truth. This is where we're at. Do we have the character to keep pushing forward, to keep getting better at our fundamentals?
Dave, what's the status on Turk Wharton?
We're evaluating for our hamstring, so we're going to get an MRI on that, and then we'll have more information. But we had to shut him down for the game.
Yeah, and regardless of kind of all the platitudes he's feeding everybody, we did get confirmation. Turk is out 4 to 6 weeks. So the big free agent we brought in is now not going to be there for some of the most crucial games we have. So this is going to be a tough slide here, guys.
Are there any other injuries that you have?
Let's see. Pat Jones had an ankle, and I think that was pretty much it. A couple of this is and that's, but those are the 2 main ones that we'll look at.
In first glance is pretty good.
Yeah.
How do you absorb that and bridge that gap with the final result?
Turnovers. And that's really what it is, you know. When you have a 50% or better day on third down, that typically means longer drives. That typically means more rushing yards, more chances for explosives as the defense starts to show us their hand and what they're doing. And to end in turnovers, you know, we weren't able to capitalize on a day that could have been a really consistent, complimentary day of football.
And that is the moment where, remember I was talking a little bit before about him always wanting to address the team? The place he keeps coming back to is the turnovers. The turnovers are directly because of Bryce Young. So, man, this is him speaking directly to him. Maybe when he was coming off the field, he's like, hey, man, you're going to get it. You know, you'll get it back. And Bryce is mad at himself. To be honest, that would make sense. Bryce is frustrated because the optimist bully in Dave Canales is like, hey, man, it's okay. We're going to go back out there and get another one. And Bryce is like, man, this sucks. That's probably what happened, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Dave, you mentioned the snaps, and you said
Yeah.
calm down the cadence. Could you
Yeah.
clarify what you mean by that?
I think it's just Austin and Bryce, you know, as we're going through, just making sure we have the protection right. Just making.
I keep telling you, he keeps telling you, oh, wrong way. He keeps telling you the reason why the plays are getting in late is because of Austin and Bryce.
Sure we're on the same page.
How did Josh do in his debut?
I thought he had a solid day. You know, for the most part, really no issues. He got beat a couple times, which, you know, Josh Hines Allen's a fantastic player. But I thought he did a solid job filling in there, especially, you know, being able to run the ball, being able to throw the ball when we had to, you know. So I'm really appreciative of having, you know, Josh, and so I was really proud of what he did today.
Agreed, especially because, to be honest, everybody's down on Josh, myself included. Him being in there means that he's going to be hunted, essentially. They're going to go after him. They're going to make sure that he is the guy that they, you know, try to smush. Because, man, you go to the other side, Moten ain't letting you in there. That exposed left side was a big problem. And, yeah, Josh stayed up to the task, but, man, he still wasn't good enough, unfortunately.
You had the team prepared well enough.
I believe so. I thought we had a great camp. I thought we had a fantastic amount of work. I think the fitness of the group was excellent. When I looked out there, you know, we're finishing the game playing hard still. So to me, it's like the physical readiness was there. I have to look at myself and say, okay, how did we not prepare these guys to be able to finish the way we want to be able to finish the plays consistently? You know, I have to look at that.
So, obviously, we're already talking about Dave maybe not being the head coach long term. And I don't love that, if I'm going to be honest with you. You guys know that I'm a big-time Dave Canales guy. I have been all over his press conferences. I broke down his Bucks press conferences before. I even broke down some of his Seattle ones in my Who is Dave Canales mini-series. Dave's my guy. But we have to figure out something to do with this quarterback room. If he wants to die on the hill that Bryce Young is the quarterback of the future, then he is going to lose his job. Do I think Andy Dalton's realistically the long-term solution? No. But if Andy Dalton can do it, that means Hendon Hooker might be able to do it, which could be an interesting way to put a fire under Bryce like he did last year, except this time it would be Hendon Hooker's opportunity to lose. I don't know if the quarterback gets benched. I don't know if the head coach gets fired. I'm not sure what happens. But this Jacksonville game told me that this season is going to be a tough one for fans, for the head coach, for the quarterback, everybody involved, but especially the owner, who is still trying to fix that overpay for Bryce Young in the draft. Chicago is playing tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoy that one. But I really don't know where to go from here. I'm excited for his press conference coming out just a few hours ago, actually. So I'll be doing that breakdown as well. Can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Peace. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.